Buenas noches, mi gente, and welcome to UCTV, brought to you by Unity Coalition, Coalition Unida. UCTV was started with a goal, una meta, to entertain, educate, and unite during a time when we couldn't leave the house because of the pandemic. Now, when we're finally seeing the light, we decided to add more fabulousness to the show. So, if you like what you see, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest updates and so you don't miss a thing of UCTV. Yo soy FayWhat, y conmigo esta noche como co-host tenemos la fantástica y dinámica Samantha LeTroy. ¿Cómo está, mi amor?
¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo se encuentran todos? Yo feliz de tenerlos justamente.
I'm so happy to have you with us, Sammy. You know that you're one of my favorite people on earth. ¿Cómo está?
Súper feliz de estar aquí con.
Go ahead, Sam.
¿Me puedes escuchar?
Sí, mi amor, loud and clear.
Oh, ok. Perfecto. Ahora sí, muy feliz de estar aquí justamente con todos ustedes y en esta segunda temporada de UCTV con estas espectaculares mujeres, rodeadas de estas mujeres espectaculares. Así que demos bienvenida a el día de hoy y en esta segunda temporada.
Gracias, Sammy. So we've got a tough show today, but one that we feel is super important. These topics are real and are happening right now. We can no longer continue to try and sweep under the rug the true hardships that our community is facing, and facing these things daily. LGBTQ plus discrimination in our schools, this is what we're talking about, and it's happening every day regardless if the victim speaks out or decides to stay silent like so many do. It might be happening to your family members right now. We're going to be hearing real life stories and just a small portion of what our community continues to endure all the time. Then next, the wonderful, beautiful Ms Samantha LeTroy is going to take over the subject of trans violence in Puerto Rico. Trans violence continues to be dominating today's news, but not only here in the US, it's also in our neighboring Hispanic countries and islands, including our very own Puerto Rico. So Samantha will be talking to two incredible powerhouses about this subject. And we're going to end our show on a happy note, on a funny note, with another one of our silly segments called Famous People's Quote. When famous people talk about gay stuff, and we love that stuff. So let's get started. Our first topic, nuestra primera invitada. Yes, this woman, I love her. Oh my goodness. Caridad Moro. She's a Cuban-American lesbian poet born in Los Angeles to Cuban immigrant parents. She's the author of Tortillera, which I just bought, and go get it yourself at Books and Books. She's the winner of TRP Southern Poetry Breakthrough Prize for Florida and Visionware as part of its new Women's Voices series. She's a contributing editor of Grabbed, Writers Responding to Sexual Assault, and associate editor for Swim Every Day, an online daily poetry journal. Caridad is an amazing individual. And let's say hello to Caridad. Hi, Caridad.
Hi, Faye. It's so great to be here with my United Coalition family and with you. Lovely to see you.
It's always a pleasure to have you, honey. You do so much. You breathing do so much for our community. So I say thank you so much for being you.
Oh, thank you. I'm very humbled to hear that. Thank you.
And so Caridad is also joined by two college students. We've got Delanie Seals. Delanie Seals is a sophomore in college at East Central University, where she's majoring in political science. Currently, her activism consists of working with the Oklahoma legislature to advocate for the Crown Act, co-running an activism page called Interracial Activists to educate people on various issues, attending local protests, and overall working to diversify her community and shed light on racism and LGBTQ discrimination. Hi, Delanie.
Hello, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. This is an issue that I usually don't get to talk about a lot, but thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Listen, my love, we are so happy to have you here. And remember that you are in a safe place. And thank you so much for sharing you with us. Thank you so much. And sharing that hair of yours. I love it.
I mean, I try,
I can leave now. All right, next we have Izzy Miller. Izzy Miller is a freshman at East Central University as well, where they're majoring in social work. They are non-binary and use they, them pronouns. Currently, their activism consists of working with the Oklahoma legislature to advocate for the Crown Act as well, co-running an activism page called Interracial Activists and Intersectional Activists to educate people on various issues, attending local protests whenever possible, and overall advocating for inclusivity within their community. Hello, how are you, Izzy?
Hello, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here. I'm doing well, how are you?
I am great, and even better having these incredible people on the show with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I just want to say first and foremost, thank you to the three of you for being here, for being open, for being just willing to say your truth. You know, it's very hard. It's been hard for us for years, and I always give huge kudos to anyone that is willing to stand on that platform and say, yes, this happened to me. I'm not the only one. Let's try to find solutions. So thank you all for being here. And Caridad, aside from being a wonderful author, just an amazing poet, you're also a teacher, correct?
I am. I've been teaching for Dade County Public Schools for 29 years now. I'm also the GSA sponsor and the SAFE liaison for the district and my school. So this is very much in my wheelhouse.
It definitely is. So thank you for your service. And yeah, we got to move those teachers up the vaccination list. Just my opinion.
Girl.
So I'm right, Delanie, right, Izzy? I mean, come on.
Definitely.
So let's start the conversation with Caridad. Okay, so Caridad, I mean, as a teacher and for the, over 2 decades that you've been educating our children, the future of tomorrow, have you seen the discrimination in the LGBTQ community and the kids and the students?
Absolutely. And it's interesting because Dade County was the first county in the southeastern United States to secure protections for LGBTQ youth and employees. So despite these protections and the ethos that comes with the district, we do always see discrimination amongst the student body, and unfortunately even sometimes amongst the teachers and the staff toward students who are LGBTQ.
I've heard many stories of friends of mine that have transitioned and have decided, want to use their new name, don't want to use their dead name anymore, and that teachers have said no.
Oh, that's a big issue. That's my biggest battle in the past, I'd say 5 years, where students don't want to use their dead name. And it started with, oh, we can't change it in the yearbook, and oh, you can't go by that name in class. And there are legal issues, to be fair. The grade book, for example, is a legal document. So if there had not been a legal name change, it would be impossible to do that. However, the daily interaction with a student, I mean, how many students have nicknames? Their name is Timothy and we call him Papo or Rocky or whatever, and nobody has a problem with that. But there were certain teachers that all of a sudden were very, very keen on, oh, it has to be the name in the grade book. So there has had to be reach out toward those professionals to address the student by the name of their choice.
And of course, that hasn't been done like school-wide. This is something that just happened, that started recently, where they were trying to educate the teachers into how they should deal with certain situations that way.
The training has been there for quite a while, and
really,
that's part of my frustration. We've had excellent resources at the district and trainers and just wonderful staff that put themselves out there to educate not just the kids and provide a support network for them, but to also educate professionals, teachers who aren't as familiar or as comfortable. But there is great resistance, and you'll see like the glaze and the eyes at the meetings where they're trying to put forth this information because they don't want to hear it, which is why I really believe that sometimes that advocacy has to be one-on-one, because I believe, as you know, I'm a writer, I believe in the power of a story. And I think that if we share stories, a kid's story, one-on-one with people who are reticent to kind of get with the program, that it's 2021 and things have vastly changed. If I can talk to them and be able to share a kid's story, then maybe I have a chance. But sometimes minds are made up, and I'm not as nice. It depends on the level I come in.
I wish that more teachers were like you, Caridad. You are an amazing soul. Let's talk to Izzy and Delanie. So let's start with you, Izzy. Okay. So were you personally ever discriminated against because of your LGBTQ tag? Was that something that ever happened to you, or that you experienced, or that your friends experienced?
I have experienced it, maybe not in schools, but I know for a fact there are other people that have experienced it. And it's the fact that this is still going on and it's a big issue. I have experienced discrimination from, some of my family members not using my pronouns or deadnaming me and not calling me Izzy. So it's a really big issue. And I know that it affects a lot, especially students, still trying to figure out their identity or knowing what their identity is and still not being called, their correct pronouns.
That's gotta be so painful though, Izzy. Like how, and it's, and here's the thing, like I've got friends of mine that are always saying like, look, I'm gay. I don't want to be educating people on how to treat us and what pronouns to use. And we have constant debates because I feel that it is our power and it is our jobs to educate. If we decide to be out and free, my own personal opinion, I never ever boundary shame, but I really do believe that it is our right and our jobs to educate others. Like how do you deal with that, Izzy, with your family? Do you just let it go? Do you just wait till you get fed up and then just explode?
So for me personally, I'm actually still dealing with this. I try my best to educate my family and my friends or even people that don't know me by sending them articles. But for me, if they don't look at those articles or don't use that information, then I can only do so much. And I don't think people should settle for the bare minimum. They should correct people when they're using the wrong pronouns or dead naming them, even if they still keep doing it. It's a huge issue and they need to continue to correct them.
Yeah, never give up. Never give up. How about you, Delanie?
So my experience, being LGBTQ in Oklahoma and even in like public schools, I wasn't always aware. I am bisexual, so growing up, I just assumed that it was just like a weird phase or something that wasn't always normal. So I didn't come to terms with it or realize that people are there are LGBTQ people around. So growing up, I didn't really think about it a lot. And, in school, I didn't really face a lot of discrimination. But as I got older and I started, learning about myself, learning about the LGBTQ community, and being able to be educated on like different discriminations that are going on in different, Oklahoma and other states and other schools, really opened my eyes up, even like the example of the kid who, I think it was in Texas, who was suspended for his nail polish. Or, schools banning same-sex couples dances. I think examples like that definitely bring to light like homophobia. I mean, obviously it's always going to be there. Transphobia, all of that's going to definitely be there, but that it's even more prevalent than people think it is. And, me being an activist and me being, wanting to educate people, I've definitely started to look at my own school, look at my own community, and seeing, how can it be better? How can students and teachers and, principals support LGBTQ students? And that's definitely the advocacy that I want to start doing. And this is, this panel has really inspired me to branch into that.
Well, and I love what you're doing. So thank you so much for you and Izzy for what you're doing at your age is just wonderful. You know, I see you guys breaking through and making these changes come to light that are going to affect so many people in the future. So thank you for that. Ms. Caridad, do you think that it's the same anywhere in the U.S. like it would be in Oklahoma versus here in Miami?
You know, that kind of reveals my own bias and the automatic assumption that, you know, obviously Oklahoma is going to have more difficulty than Miami, but that's really a very short-sighted statement because I think there are pockets of homophobia wherever you go, and even in our city, they are there, and for many of those pockets, they're so deeply entrenched that it's hard to fill them in. So yes, in many ways, overtly, you know, we are a city that we're super gay, and so we do have a stronghold. This is Miami, and we have a stronghold here in our community, and we have a community, which I think is what sets us apart for smaller towns, where the community. It reminds me of that documentary, Small Town Gay Bar, where that was like the beacon of being gay in these very small towns, where being gay was, you know, you could get killed for being gay. And I'm dating myself because it's maybe 20 years old, this documentary, but I never forgot that there are little pockets everywhere. We're just luckier that we have a larger place to like walk around and roam, but we still have those issues. And I see it, unfortunately, in school.
Well, being that you see it and you've had such a wonderful career with our students, is there a story that pops up? Something that occurred to an LGBTQ student that you can never shake, that no matter what, you're just always like, ugh, this is why I do what I do.
Yes. And I had a student who had come out as lesbian to her mother, and her mother was not having it at all. And she had gone to speak to counselors. This girl cried every day. And had gone to speak to counselors, and the counselors, quote unquote, sent her to me because I dealt with the gay issues. And I just started to have lunch with this girl every single day. She would show up in my room and we would have lunch together and we would talk, and we became very close. And for 3 years, we ate lunch together. And one day, I even had to have her Baker acted because she was on the verge of suicide. But it ended up being the best thing that happened to her. And her mother, when her mother saw the extent of her anguish, she kind of got with a program, connected with her daughter. Long story short, she is, you know, thriving. She graduated. She's in college. She's wonderful. She's beautiful. Her mother respects her and really validates her for who she is. So I carry that story with me because this was a girl that they had written off. This is a girl that we could have lost. And that night that I had to Baker act her because she said the words that I couldn't ignore, I cried. I felt like, oh my God, what have I done? But it ended up being the best thing for her. And now she is, you know, self-actualized. So I carry that as a badge of honor. And she is my daughter. I call her my daughter. She calls me mom. And it also cemented for me how every kid needs an ally who is an adult, whether they are gay or not. She just happened to hit me, and I understood her, but they need an ally. They need a sounding board. And I think with that, even one person can change the trajectory of a life.
Yes, ma'am. And that's going to take me into my next question for all three of you. Okay, so how about if parents don't cooperate? Like, how about if parents don't want to support their children and, you know, they just came out, they've just come out to their parents. This was hard as it was for them, and their parents just refuse to understand it, don't even want to hear about it, don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. What advice would you give these kids going through that? We'll start with Izzy.
I would say that to not give up is the most important thing, because whenever you find out what your identity is, you know, maybe not other people might understand, but you know how that feels, and you know what you're feeling is true and that it's not a phase, as other people might say. I would say the best thing that you can do is since now we do have social media and we are able to make these connections with other people, you know, maybe finding Instagram pages that are pro LGBTQ plus, and finding those resources, or even if it's someone at school, or even maybe a teacher that they know that they can trust, or another family member, other people, but just to, you know, not exactly hide who they are, but when they're ready to come out, they can.
Delanie, what do you think, honey?
I would say every single one of those points. And, you know, in some cases, you know, with social media, obviously it's easier to find an outlet or find a group of people that you can connect with that, you know, who are, you know, bisexual, who are trans, non-binary, etc. You know, but also like coming from a small town or maybe like a more rural area, sometimes those things are hard. And, you know, personally, in my case, you know, there are always, I mean, as much as people want to ignore it, there's always going to be LGBTQ students somewhere, people somewhere, teachers somewhere. And, you know, maybe if you obviously don't have to come out, and you also don't have to be, you know, super expressive with it, but, you know, maybe educating other people or reaching out to other people, finding other people to connect with, you know, and having those people to share, you know, talk to share your, you know, the things that you go through, and be able to relate. You know, having those people was extremely important to me, and I know would be extremely important to any person struggling with discrimination, or you know, not being accepted at home, not being accepted at school, and yeah, etc. So reaching out, and you know, maybe there might not be a group yet, like a LGBTQ club yet, or you know, students that you know yet, but you could be that person to make other people feel comfortable. And I think that would probably, I mean, again, it takes a certain kind of person to be that way, but that's what I personally did, and you know, would encourage other people to do.
Well, and something that struck me was, I mean, like, there's Facebook pages for everything, guys. Like, it's such a blessing. When I was a kid, that didn't exist, right? And so you could find a Facebook page for anything. Okay, I like MAC makeup, and you will find 100,000 other people that will join that group. You know, I love how toes smell. There is a group out there.
I mean, hey, you know, by all means. That's why we started our page. Yeah, our interracial activists, to provide that.
Okay, so make sure that everybody goes and checks out their Instagram page. Okay, say it again. Was that? Yeah. I think that was Izzy, right?
Oh no, that was Delanie. Yeah, interracial activists.
We'll definitely check that out. Caridad, same question, my love.
There are degrees of parental negation, right? So there are the parents who aren't really happy with it, and then, you know, you learn to manage that. But then there are parents who are threatening violence, who are threatening to throw their child out into the street. So sometimes I counsel them that they're surviving, and they're there to survive until 18, where they have other options, college, moving out. Sometimes you can't fight City Hall if it's going to mean that you're going to end up on the street or hurt. So I'm very careful, you know, not to encourage students to fight with their parents. On the contrary, to try and approach them in the way that I mentioned, with a story, trying to get them to relate. Sometimes that's not possible. So as my esteemed peers here on screen mentioned, finding community, finding resources will help you gear up what you need while you are surviving living in a negative home life.
Listen, the LGBTQIA community invented chosen family. You know, we invented that because so many of us were estranged and still are. You know, I recall when I first came out, you know, my mom refused to help me fill out paperwork to get financial aid to go to college. So I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, basically, you know, and I had to find elders. I had to find older people that would support me. You know, they are out there. You just have to go find them, you know. So last question to all three of you. What would you like to see in change during the Biden administration? How about that? What would you like to see in change in our community?
Well,
sorry.
No, please.
You go, Delanie, you go.
Oh, okay. You know, I think that that's a tough question because there's different levels of that. You know, locally, statewide, you know, federally. I think locally, a big issue that Izzy and I faced, and a few other students is, this is a small example, but going to our city council and being able to create like a pride crosswalk, even that was denied. Something as small, and while it seems unimportant to other people, means a lot to us, and even that was denied. So being able to have those people in political positions where they'll not just, again, you can have representatives, you can have people who are LGBTQ, but people actually, standing up for your community, advocating for policies for your community, advocating for, social change in your community. And that goes, just not just locally, but statewide, but federally. And I hope, I think that there was a bill that was passed today, the Equality Act, even things like that. I mean, that's just a monumental step for people, LGBTQ people, and to be able to see representation at that level. So I think definitely, hopefully we see more LGBTQ people representing us in all kinds of positions, and more, which would lead to more policies that have to do with workplace discrimination, school discrimination, so we don't see the kid from Texas being suspended for nail polish. So we don't see, people being banned from going to dances because they have a same-sex couple. So, we don't see as much, we'll have policies in place that will protect students from bullying and, other dress codes that are discriminatory. I hope with this administration that people it won't fix all the problems, but it will help bring us closer together and be able to see that LGBTQ issues matter and LGBTQ people matter.
Yes, they do. Izzy, what do you think?
I agree with everything Delanie said. Pretty much everything she said was correct. I think the main thing too is having a LGBTQ it being more talked about in school, because it is not talked about. We are not included in history. And, having people that, that are in positions of power, them bringing you more LGBTQ people, showing us representation, because there is representation, but we've always been here since the beginning of time, but we've always been shunned. And that's the main thing that's still happening till this day.
You're absolutely right. Caridad, what do you think?
I spent the last 4 years battling, right? And storing up the walls from a war on LGBTQ plus people. So now I'm like, okay, now that we're not fighting, all protections have been reinstated that were given to us in the Obama administration, that were stripped away during the Trump administration. Those have been put back in place. So now I think we're in a position where we're able to really go forward with advocacy and changing the things that need to be changing, like, for example, the bill that was passed today in Congress. Now that we're not, fighting back, we can go forward. And I think it's a very, very intelligent what my young people got it going on. What they said is absolutely correct. It's not so much the guy in DC. It is local government. It is local representation. Yes. It is showing up. It is the electorate, being part of the electorate. And I think when you can be proud of that electorate as a whole, for the most part, it makes advocacy and it makes evolution of stagnant laws easier to do. What's my hope? That we get it all fixed in 4 years? My hope is that in 4 years, we don't even have to ask. It's because it doesn't matter. Who you are as you walk in the room is who you are. So that's really my largest hope. I will hold on to that hope, and I will venture to say, feel a little naive about it, because I do think that is what the majority of this country wants, is equality for everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I have to thank all three of you for being such amazing guests today. You have no idea. You've warmed my heart. Caridad, it's always an honor to have you part of anything I do. Okay, I'm going to have a barbecue in the backyard, and I'm going to invite you. I mean, I just need you around. Please go. Please. That's book, Tortillera. You can go pick it up at Books and Books. It's a great read. She's just an amazing individual. And if our future has...
And if I could just say, it's such a pleasure and joy to hear both of you speak, and it makes me feel so proud. And you know, I'm a teacher, so I've always known to look to the kids. So thank you so much. You're going to lead us forward.
No,
yes.
Thank you. I mean, the fact that, you know, you're being able to stand up for, you know, students in your school and to be a voice for them, or, you know, representation is amazing. And, you know, that's not really common here in Oklahoma. So, you know, thank you for, you know, yes, be our teachers or professors, please.
Thank you so much.
Listen, or you could come move to Miami. We've got beautiful weather all year round. And like Caridad says, we're really gay. Like really gay.
Yeah.
All right, so Izzy and Delanie, please promise me to keep in touch, and maybe we'll have you on in a future show. I'd love to know anything else.
Yes, please.
Right, thank you guys. Love you, Caridad. Love you. Thank you. Make sure that you follow all of them on social media. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, what an incredible segment. What an incredible guest. We're so blessed. So now I'm going to remind you all that UCTV could not be possible without Unity Coalition, Coalition Unida, representing Latinx, Hispanic, and Indigenous LGBTQ leadership and pride in equality, education, empowerment since 2002. So take our online survey and tell us how we're doing, what we can do better, and what you want to see for 2021. You will qualify to win some UCCU Vintage. So realiza nuestra encuesta en línea. Dinos cómo estamos haciendo, cómo mejorar y lo que quieren ver como programación en este nuevo año. Calificarás para ganar un regalo de UCTV. So go check it out at unitycoalition.org. Siempre ayudando a nuestra comunidad. Next, let's tell you a little bit about microgiving. Okay, it's a Unity Coalition Microgiving Fund. Unity Coalition, Coalición Unida Microgiving Incubator Fund is about community building, startup support, and hope. Microgiving is most often thought of as a charitable donation of small increments of money from a single donor to a specific recipient. So over the last decade, this giving option has grown and evolved to including a variety of needs, ideas, resources, and funding opportunities that came real important during the beginning of the pandemic. Unity Coalition, Coalición Unida, trae microgiving a la comunidad TLGBTQ del sur de la Florida con un enfoque en lo que las personas necesitan más ahora mismo y la oportunidad de ayudarles a estar un paso más cerca de la estabilidad, la prosperidad, la devolución y el cumplimiento de sus sueños. It is all about our microgiving fund, so make sure that you check out all the information on it on unitycoalition.org. So ahora, it is my pleasure and my honor to invite Ms Samantha LeTroy back on as co-host and host of the trans section of today's show. And I'm so excited, Sammy!
Oh my God, FayWhat! Déjame decirte que estás mejorando el español. Estoy súper orgullosa de ti.
Ay, gracias. Es por ti, es la culpa tuya que estoy aprendiendo más. Muchas gracias, mi amor. Bueno, te voy a dejar con tus invitados and take it away, Ms Samantha.
Claro que sí, y en nuestro capítulo del día de hoy a todos les quiero decir, disculpen al principio teníamos un poco de problemas técnicos, pero ya estamos aquí mejorándoles para traerles la mejor emisión del día de hoy. En nuestro programa de UCTV en español les tengo dos maravillosas mujeres especiales que están haciendo cosas súper importantes por nuestra comunidad, mucho más que otras personas que pueden aparecer en las pantallas. Ellas dos con sus voces y con sus palabras están haciendo muchos cambios para nuestra comunidad y nuestro tema del día de hoy es la violencia y discriminación en nuestra isla de Puerto Rico. Así que con ustedes quiero darle la bienvenida a Ariana Lint y la bellísima, mi bellísima hermana que yo la vi por primera vez y cuando yo la vi yo dije, ella es bellísima. Espérate que te lo voy a presentar. Kimberly Vazquez. Aquí la tienen para todos ustedes, mi gente, directamente desde Puerto Rico y desde Miami tenemos a Kimberly y Ariana. Kimberly, bienvenidas a UCTV segunda temporada 2021.
Muchas gracias a ti, gracias por la oportunidad, de verdad que estamos muy agradecidas. En AriannasCenter siempre estamos a su disposición para darle lo mejor de nosotras.
Gracias a ti por esta magnífica oportunidad y con mi bellísima también nuevamente en nuestro programa. Ariana Lint, bienvenida a UCTV.
Samantha, corazón, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo están todos los amigos de UCTV, el network y la televisión de toda la comunidad gay latina de South Florida y ahora internacional? Porque tenemos gente que veo, yo los sigo muchos, veo que les sigue mucha gente de Colombia, de República Dominicana, y ahora hablar sobre el tópico de Puerto Rico, pues un agradecimiento muy grande a Ger, a ustedes, la producción, por invitarnos y poner la visibilidad de los problemas que están enfrentando ahora nuestras hermanas puertorriqueñas y hermanos puertorriqueños allá en la isla.
Claro que sí, Ariana, una de las cosas mucho más importantes que quiero tomar en el tema del día de hoy, la discriminación directamente hacia la mujer transgénero. Este tipo de problema es algo que no ha sido de ahora de hace poco tiempo, viene ya de un pasado, viene de algo que no es, que muchas personas que han estado en otras ocasiones han venido también pasando por estas mismas situaciones. Por eso te quiero preguntar algo, quizás quisiera comenzar con Ariana. El recorrido que hemos primero enfrentado aquí, o la problemática que tenemos empezando aquí en la Florida, es bastante fuerte. ¿Puedes explicarme cómo ha sido esta lucha, especialmente por la cantidad de números que hemos tenido en asesinatos hacia las mujeres transgénero?
Claro, claro. Mira, yo te voy a decir alguna cosa. Nosotras tenemos la bendición, sinceramente, de seguir luchando por nuestros derechos acá en Estados Unidos, en Miami, en Florida, en cualquiera de los estados dentro de Estados Unidos, y que si nos pasa algo, vamos a tener alguien que nos respalde o algo que pase. O sea, siempre vamos a tener respaldo, ¿me entiendes? Los crímenes no van a quedar impunes. Sin embargo, siendo territorio de Estados Unidos, la cosa es muy diferente en Puerto Rico. En Puerto Rico ya hay 7 personas que han sido asesinadas, no solamente Alexa. Nosotros hemos identificado justamente el trabajo que hemos hecho con Kimberly el año pasado y con otras activistas locales en Puerto Rico, una encuesta de necesidades básicas de Puerto Rico, y todavía no están los resultados finales porque son con la Universidad de Puerto Rico. Pero mira, por decirte, el 63% de la población transgénero y no binaria en Puerto Rico piensa que Puerto Rico no es un lugar seguro para vivir. Entonces, estas cosas vamos a tener que brindar mayor visibilidad y hablar, tener conversaciones como este espacio para poder, ya que yo creo que es muy importante que a Puerto Rico se le trate como si fuera de Estados Unidos, porque es de Estados Unidos. Y eso yo creo, por eso nuestra labor de ir. Y nosotros también acá en el sur de la Florida, también experimentamos mucho de las chicas y chicos transgéneros que inmigran acá porque no ven un futuro viable en la isla. Entonces es un trabajo importante. No sé, yo creo que Kimberly puede decir más, ya que ella vive allá siempre y ha estado pendiente y tiene una labor y un reconocimiento inmenso con la comunidad allá.
Claro que sí, sé que Kimberly tiene mucha más información para todos nosotros directamente, que ella está desde la isla. También quisiera comentarle, así como dices tú, Ariana, de muchos de nuestros compatriotas puertorriqueños, porque son completamente de los Estados Unidos y están aquí en los Estados Unidos, que vienen y hacen una migración, digámoslo así de esta manera, aquí en el sur de la Florida, también han pasado por algún tipo de discriminación laboral, discriminación justamente con las parejas que han encontrado aquí y que no se han sentido bien. Por eso quise tomar el tema iniciando aquí en el sur de la Florida y cómo de una u otra manera ha afectado también en esa parte de discriminación, porque si todos somos los Estados Unidos, pues hay parte de discriminación aquí en el sur de la Florida. ¿Cómo no va a verse reflejado también allá en la isla, que sería lo mismo que estamos viendo? Ahora sí quiero continuar con Kimberly Vazquez, esta bellísima mujer que está allá en la isla de Puerto Rico. Pero antes de continuar, Kimberly, ¿cuál es tu título que estás teniendo en el programa de AriannasCenter, representando obviamente en Puerto Rico?
Pues sí, tengo el título de coordinadora de servicios para AriannasCenter en afiliación de West Ahead.
Maravilloso, quiere decir que estamos haciendo bastantes cosas por nuestra comunidad. Ahora sí, en el día de ayer estuvimos viendo un magnífico ceremonia que se le brindó a Alexa con todas las personas que participaron. Estuve viendo padres de familias también representando ese amor que existe también, porque necesitamos el apoyo no solamente de nosotras que podamos levantar la voz, sino también de nuestros compañeros, de nuestros amigos, de las personas que conocen nuestros derechos y nos quieren. Son Kimberly, cuéntame un poco más de cómo fue esa experiencia en el día de ayer, en el cumpleaños de Alexa y también justamente en la ceremonia, en el lugar donde sucedieron tantas cosas.
Pues claro que sí, pues fue una actividad bien amena. Primero que todo, le quiero agradecer a todas estas personas que se dieron cita en la tarde de ayer y a todos los medios que estuvieron allí cubriendo lo que era una actividad llamada El Reflejo de Alexa. Esta actividad fue para empoderar más a nuestra comunidad trans y género no binario, para que sepan que no estamos solos, no estamos solas y no estamos soles en todo este trayecto, en toda esta historia. Fue una actividad muy bonita donde también tocamos sentimientos, pudimos ver que se dieron cita a personas que no eran de parte de nuestra comunidad LGBTQIA, y también pudimos llegar a políticos, fue mucha gente del Senado, políticos, el alcalde de Tuabaja. En sí, el lugar donde se hizo esta actividad era donde pernoctaba, donde Alexa dormía, y también en la noche del 24 de febrero del 2020 fue asesinada. Así que para nosotros acá en el grupo de Ariana, de verdad que fue bien impactante trabajar esta actividad porque era un reto el poder reunir a todas estas personas en este lugar que tiene tantos sentimientos, porque allí fue donde la asesinaron, donde ahí pues la gente le lleva flores, etcétera, y también más adelante va a haber un monumento que aún no ha salido develado, ¿verdad? ¿Qué va a ser? Si va a ser un torso, va a ser un espejo, no se sabe qué va a ser, todavía es sorpresa, pero en el lugar de los hechos donde a Alexa la asesinaron va a haber un monumento, así que estamos muy felices por eso.
Muy felices de que se ha reconocido todo esto, no solamente por el hecho de que se haya reconocido que fue una mujer transgénero asesinada, sino que queremos que ese monumento valga la pena para futuras generaciones, para que no puedan pasar por eso mismo que pudo pasar ella y para que se reconozcan nuestros derechos también en la isla, que si ella quería justamente identificarse como una mujer, debería ser llamada como una mujer, debería ser tratada como una mujer. Y también pude entender, y estuve viendo también los comentarios de las personas que estaban en las redes sociales en el mismo momento del evento del día de ayer en la conmemoración para Alexa, pude entender que existían también muchas personas que sabían el lugar donde ella dormía, que sabían el lugar donde ella estaba porque les gustaba hacerles bullying, sabían, y en las redes sociales cómo pudieron acabar justamente con su vida. Ariana, quisiera preguntarte algo. Estuvimos la representación de Tony Lima ayer justamente en el evento a Alexa. ¿Cómo fue esa representación? ¿O cómo pudiste ver que Tony estaba justamente representándonos a todos nosotros? Y pues muchísimas gracias, quisiera decirle, por esa magnífica representación. Cuéntame algo de eso.
Gracias, gracias. Bueno, pues mira, yo creo que la representación de Tony fue fundamental. Como ustedes saben, yo he trabajado mucho el año pasado y el año pasado en plena pandemia. Es más, tuve que mudarme a Puerto Rico para alquilando, tenía que estar largo tiempo, y pues ya era hora de que vuelva a Fort Lauderdale. Estamos ahora en nuestras nuevas oficinas por COVID-19 de emergencia, nos estamos reinventando como todas las agencias locales, así que y aparte que también algunas cositas personales que están pasando conmigo de mi salud, pues no pude estar presente allá, pero Tony como COO de la organización pues estaba perfectamente muy bien. También el acento de Tony de que no es de la isla, la prensa lo tomó muy bien, ya que está viendo que tiene visibilidad y atención en la diáspora externa, ¿verdad? Acá en Estados Unidos. Solo han puesto mucho, también hemos causado mucha expectativa con los resultados de esta encuesta de las necesidades básicas de la comunidad transgénero en Puerto Rico, que está trayendo muchas cosas. Y pues eso hemos tratado de ver pero no solamente la representación de Tony también. Yo creo que Alexa, la muerte de Alexa ha sido un precedente grandísimo para que gente transgénero, amigas y hermanas transgénero también se unan a la lucha y a la representatividad y también a la sensibilidad del cariño que dejó Alexa en todos nosotros, ¿verdad? En este momento, por ejemplo, tengo un collarcito que dice que no es de AriannasCenter, sino que es de Alexa, que fue hecho de chicas de la diáspora de Nueva York, creo que Diana, y entonces se lo mandó a todas las activistas y se han tomado fotos y lo han hecho. Creo que la representación de Alexa no la hemos recordado como alguien que fue víctima o que necesita como que tomen atención porque fue la pobrecita. No, Alexa de verdad creó un precedente en Puerto Rico, un antes y después del activismo y de todas las cosas. Entonces, pues fue muy bien, estuvo muy bien organizado. Kimberly estaba a la cabeza de todo este grupo y este evento de organizar completamente todo, ¿verdad? Tener conexiones con los legisladores, hemos tenido visitas de alcaldes, de diputados, senadores. Esa atención que tuvimos ayer y que la comunidad no tuvimos, tuvimos no por AriannasCenter, sino por la comunidad transgénero, no hemos tenido tanta atención en Puerto Rico por mucho tiempo. Y creo que Kimberly fue una embajadora estupenda en la conversación. Ella hoy día ha sido portada de muchos medios de televisión y de periódicos, viendo la estructura. Hubo una parte muy bonita al final, que todas las chicas y todos los chicos transgéneros se pusieron al frente y pusieron los espejos al cielo, y era ese reflejo que daba, que causó muchísimo. Mira, se me pone la piel de gallina de las cosas que habían hecho. Así que yo me siento muy contenta y con Tony también, que ya mañana regresa ya.
Ya mañana entonces tenemos a Tony de regreso. Kimberly, quisiera preguntarte, después de toda esta ceremonia que tuvimos en Puerto Rico en el día de ayer, ¿cuál era la expectativa justamente con los candidatos, la gente que estaba en la política, que estaba también representando? Vimos muchas personas que estaban representando diferentes compañías y asociaciones y también la representante a la Cámara. ¿Cómo fue ese impacto de esta ceremonia y qué expectativas tienen ustedes ahora justamente después de todos estos días?
Pues mira, era bien importante que estas personas se dieran cita en este lugar. Fueron invitados, ¿verdad?, por un propósito. Queríamos que ellos que tienen muchos privilegios, ¿verdad?, que son los que llevan la voz al gobierno, quería que estuvieran allí y sintieran lo que nosotros, ¿verdad?, nosotras y nosotros que estábamos expresando. Es bien importante que ellos se dieran cita, y así estuvieron, se dieron cita, dialogaron con muchas y muchos de nosotros. Así que para nosotros fue primordial que el alcalde de Toabaja, quien es un señor espectacular, quien ha abierto sus puertas de su oficina para escucharnos, inclusive más adelante también quizás la organización de AriannasCenter, vamos a tener quizás una oficina por allí cerca en este pueblo. Así que para nosotros fue bien gratificante el poder entonces tener a todas estas personas de legisladores, alcaldes y senadores, representantes, para que ellos pudieran expresarse y también hicieran con nosotros un compromiso genuino, más que todo, para que pudieran llevar la voz al gobierno de Puerto Rico.
Quisiera preguntarte algo, Ariana, en el proceso de vinculización que tiene que ver para la comunidad y en las políticas públicas que genera justamente aquí en la Florida, que son reflejadas de una u otra manera allá en la isla. ¿Cuál es esa nueva estrategia que la organización AriannasCenter tiene implementada ahora en Puerto Rico, especialmente para ayudar a las comunidades transgénero en la parte de discriminación?
Nosotros, AriannasCenter está completamente a favor del empoderamiento y el liderazgo de la comunidad y de los propios activistas y líderes emergentes en Puerto Rico. Yo he trabajado, como les digo, en Puerto Rico y sé perfectamente la grandeza y la pasión que tienen las personas transgénero y activistas transgénero en Puerto Rico. Eso nadie lo puede negar. Sin embargo, tenemos una estrategia, obviamente, como tú lo has dicho, donde como lo vieron, ya tenemos la primera experiencia de estos senadores, personas de poder que se han conectado con nosotros. Ya tenemos las direcciones, ya tenemos los emails, los teléfonos, ya tenemos la promesa pública. Y antes no se podían hacer porque antes no la teníamos, no teníamos acceso a esa información. Actualmente, pues en la labor de Kimberly va a ser conectar, ser el puente de conexión con todas esas personas de poder en Puerto Rico, no tanto Kimberly, también tenemos otras personas también, Joana Cifredo, que es una de las Misses o algo, pero específicamente Kimberly como representante, y esta va a ser la encargada pues de estamos preparando conversaciones con el gobernador, le hemos pedido, ¿verdad? Estamos tratando no solamente de tener conversaciones con el gobernador de Puerto Rico, sino a veces con gobernadores locales, ¿no? De acá de Estados Unidos, de New Jersey, de Florida, o gobernadores que puedan influir en las decisiones y en el apoyo que debe tener la comunidad transgénero. Sabemos que ayer fue un recordatorio donde más de las personas políticas pidieron, pero lo que la prensa pide es eso, ¿verdad? Entonces nosotros dimos, pero también con un mensaje por dentro del trabajo sincero de Kimberly, de todos nosotros, de agarrar esos contactos y de hacer que cumplan sus promesas. Por eso es que estamos tan contentas con todo eso.
Claro que sí, me imagino que todos estamos compartiendo toda esta felicidad completamente. Yo también espero justamente poder ir muy pronto a la isla y tener conocimiento y dar también apoyo y representar a todas estas organizaciones en la isla de Puerto Rico. Kimberly, quisiera preguntarte algo para poderte encontrar en la isla de Puerto Rico. Un saludo especial para todas estas personas que nos están viendo ahora mismo desde la isla. Si yo estoy pidiendo algún tipo de servicio, ¿qué tipo de servicios tienen ustedes mismos ahora implementados, activos en la isla?
Pues claro, pues nosotros estamos haciendo primero trabajo de abogacía, estamos en trabajo de enlace. Si alguna persona no tiene algún acceso a salud, lo que hacemos es que lo acompañamos, ¿verdad? Y lo enlazamos a servicios. También tenemos personas que están con nosotros trabajando para cambio de nombre, vivienda, también tenemos algunos regalitos como tarjetas de regalo, pero en sí estamos trabajando específicamente con la comunidad de adultos mayores, específicamente este es el comienzo de este nuevo año. AriannasCenter estamos trabajando específicamente con adultos mayores de la comunidad en general. Yo específicamente me estoy dedicando a la comunidad trans, pero en sí en nuestro establecimiento o nuestra oficina estamos trabajando con la comunidad LGBT.
Claro que sí, eso quiere decir que todos estos servicios van dirigidos a toda la comunidad LGBTQ+, más para que todos se sientan justamente bienvenidos. Si usted necesita cualquier información, algún tipo de proceso que le está pasando en la isla, discriminación laboral, hormonas, quiero cambiarme el nombre, o muchas veces defenderlo en algún caso, ahí pueden acercarse a las oficinas de AriannasCenter en la isla de Puerto Rico. Kimberly, recuérdame cómo te podemos encontrar en las redes sociales y los números para poder acceder a los servicios de AriannasCenter en la isla.
Claro, se pueden comunicar conmigo en mi Facebook personal, que es Kimberly Vazquez Arciliares, que es mi nombre. También por Instagram, que es Kimberly VQZ. Y al número de la oficina, que te lo encuentro ahora mismito. El número de la oficina es el 787-995-7985. Repito, 787-995-7985. Ahí entonces preguntan por Kimberly o dejan un mensajito y estamos a su disposición.
Claro que sí, hay un email donde podamos enviarte alguna información directamente o ahí mismo en las redes sociales lo podemos encontrar.
Claro, se pueden comunicar también conmigo a puertorico@ariannascenter.com.
Maravilloso, ahí lo tienen, puertorico@ariannascenter.com. Lo tienen para que lo puedan tener. Cualquier información que necesiten, ahí lo tienen para todos ustedes. Mandándole un gran saludo a toda nuestra comunidad latino, hispana, indígena del sur de la Florida y que nos están viendo también fuera de los Estados Unidos. Muchísimos besos. Esta es la segunda temporada de UCTV. Conmigo tengo a la bellísima AriannasCenter con los bellísimos y maravillosos servicios para nuestra comunidad transgénero aquí en el sur de la Florida. Ariana, ¿algún evento que tengas ya próximo para la comunidad transgénero?
Claro que sí, claro que sí. Mira, te voy a dar una primicia para que sepas. Estamos organizando el primer Instituto de Empoderamiento de Mujeres Trans en español, la visibilidad a través de la belleza, y vamos a tener a todas las candidatas latinas del concurso Miss International Queen para el día de 31 de marzo, que es el día de visibilidad trans en todo el mundo. Vamos a tener este fórum latinoamericano de empoderamiento y de visibilidad online, así que a todos los invito.
Claro que sí, son todos invitados a este gran taller de empoderamiento para nuestra comunidad, uno de los eventos que tiene la organización de AriannasCenter. Espero que todos ustedes sigan nuestra página web en Facebook, en nuestro canal en YouTube como Unida Coalition, y aquí estamos conectados en UCTV. Míralo y chequéalo en nuestras notificaciones. Nos pueden encontrar a través de unitycoalition.org o visitar la página web en español, coalicionunida.org. Ver todos los programas que tenemos. Tenemos LB, tenemos Celebrando Orgullo, tenemos infinidades, Trans Art Lab, y no se olviden de que tendremos la maravillosa y magnífica idea de traerle mucho más artistas para nuestro Art Lab, que es para nuestra comunidad transgénero. Síganos en nuestra página web y pueden conseguirlo en /ArtLab para que sepan mucho más de lo que les estoy hablando y lo que tiene Unida Coalition para nuestra comunidad transgénero. Kimberly y Ariana, quiero decirles, mis chicas, gracias por esta entrevista, gracias por este tiempo. Ariana, me encanta el collar, por favor, cuando puedas, si las chicas de Nueva York me pueden enviar uno, yo quiero también tener uno del recuerdo de Alexa. Kimberly, mi amor, bellísima, te adoro, mándale un saludo a tu comunidad.
Claro que sí. Muchísimas gracias antes que todo por la oportunidad de expresarnos por este medio, y a la comunidad que tanto amamos y que a día trabajamos para ella. Queremos decirle que vivan en urgencia, que no hay tiempo que perder. Y para ti, Samantha, te tenía una sorpresa. Yo me voy a encargar de enviarte tu regalito. Te tengo tu collar, así que tras bastidores me envías tu información y te lo envío, mi reina.
Voy a tener mi collar de Alexa, yes, finally. Y esto no quiere decir que vamos a tener el collar de Alexa porque queremos hacerlo moda, no. Queremos recordarles que todas somos Alexa, porque esa fue la ideología del espejo. Mírate en el espejo tal cual como te ves tú y mírate que somos iguales. No tiene nada de cambiar. Ariana, muchas gracias por la entrevista, mi amor. Un saludo para todas las personas.
Te quiero mucho, muchísimas gracias a ti, a toda la producción de Unida Coalition TV, que hace tanto y que está abriendo tantos caminos acá en la televisión, dándole espacio también en nuestro idioma. Así que es importantísimo.
Claro que sí, tenemos. Recuerda que Unida Coalition está también para nuestra comunidad latino, hispana e indígena de aquí del sur de la Florida, trabajando por toda nuestra comunidad LGBTQ+ y mucho más desde el 2002. Para toda mi gente, quiero decirles, fue un placer tenerlos aquí, y más que un placer, un encanto, como se dice en la isla, trabajar para ustedes, gozar y llevarles la mejor información en esta nueva temporada de UCTV 2021, en el día de hoy con estas dos maravillosas mujeres, y nuestro tema que fue la violencia y discriminación en la isla de Puerto Rico para las mujeres transgénero. Mi gente, yo soy Samantha LeTroy y quiero decirles, fue un maravilloso placer tenerlos aquí nuevamente, y no se olviden, síganos en nuestra página web y activen las notificaciones para que no se pierdan ninguno de los capítulos que tenemos aquí en UCTV. Tengan buenas noches, nos vemos pronto.
Yes, Samantha, what a great interview, mi amor. Oh my God. Y muchas gracias a Kimberly y Ariana. Muchas gracias por el apoyo, por honestamente ser honestas, por ser ustedes, por ser hermanas. Thank you for being with us today, girls. And Samantha, you kick butt, mi amor. And you got a collar.
I got a collar, yes. Thank you,
You're
Faith.
so
Thank you so much.
All right, mi amor. So now we're going to get a little lighter on our show today, and we're going to take a look. You know, we always try to do some quirky things. That's what we want to do. We want to bring important topics up to the table, but we also want to entertain and be fun, because that's what we are in the LGBTQIA community, right? We're fun. That's what we do. So here it is. So we've got famous people and their gayest quotes, all right? So we're going to get started with one of my favorite people on, well, she used to be one of my favorite people before she got a little cuckoo. Miss Roseanne Barr. You guys all know Roseanne Barr, and that she was known as Roseanne Arnold for a little bit. So Roseanne Barr's favorite quote that has to do with us, the gays, she says, "I thank God for creating gay men. Because if it wasn't for them, us fat women would never have anyone to dance with." Oye, qué lástima. That's sad. Okay. Hey, I guess. Yeah, whatever. Joito, that's my cousin up north. He would always dance with everybody. He didn't really care. Next, Woody Allen. Okay, everybody knows Woody Allen. So Woody Allen's famous gay quote is, "Bisexuality immediately doubles your chances for a date on a Saturday night." I think that Woody Allen has spoken to my mom. Mi mamá me dijo lo mismo. Cuando yo le dije a ella que yo era bisexual, ¿verdad? Because that was like the first coming out for me. She said, "No, baby, you're just greedy." I said, "Oh, okay, bueno, that may be true." Next, we have Elaine Booster. Elaine Booster dice, "My brother's gay and my parents don't care as long as he marries a doctor." Yes, I think your mom has the right idea. My mom told me to marry a doctor. I married a nurse. Close enough, right? Okay. Ernest Gaines. Ernest Gaines says, "Why is it that as a culture we are more comfortable seeing two men holding guns than holding hands?" Piensa eso un ratito, right? Why are we more comfortable with people with guns in their hands than holding another person of the same sex? Next is Rodney Dangerfield. Has to be one of the funniest dudes like ever in history. If you don't know who Rodney Dangerfield is, to the youngins, Google him. Okay, Google him. He says, "My cousin's gay. I always tell him that in our family tree, he's in the fruit section." Con las uvas, yes. Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, what an incredible soul and an incredible actor and comedian. He said, "We had gay burglars the other night. They broke in and rearranged the furniture." Unless it was IKEA, and then they would be like, "Nuh-uh, we're not rearranging anything, sorry." Next is Bob Smith. Bob Smith dice, "My high school had a Head Start program for homosexuals. It was called Drama Club." Listen, Miss Dumas up in Passaic, New Jersey, all the gays were in her drama class. It's the truth. Craig Kilborn, yes, another great comedian, says, "The sodomy laws have been overturned. So soon we can overturn each other." Face down, ass up. Yes. So tell us your favorite quote. It could be gay or it could be whatever it is. We want to hear it. It might be featured in one of our upcoming segments. So send them our way on our Instagram page, which is at UCTV_Unity Coalition. Okay, that's all the time that we have for this week's UCTV episode 2. We made it happen. Make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms, on Instagram at UCTV_Unity Coalition and FB at Unity Coalition. I have to say a big, super huge thank you to our guest today, Ariana, Lint. You are amazing. Kimberly Vazquez, Eres Bella, Delanie, Izzy. You guys are going to rule the world. And Caridad, you are just eternally in my heart. I love you, woman. The fantabulous Samantha LeTroy, the co-host and the diva extraordinaire with that incredible interview. And of course, to all of those behind the scene, Luisito Flores, our producer and director. He does it all except dress me. David Fernandez, who does dress me and do my hair, our project manager, and our very own Herb Sosa for being an excellent, excellent executive producer. Please join us next week. On next week's show, our segment is I Have Two Dads or Moms. How people with two of the same sex parents might be more adjusted in life than hetero parents. And we will also debut Jose Abar's new video and see how being queer in the music business has made him just that much stronger. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share, tell your friends, and catch us here next week. I'm FayWhat. Lo veo la próxima semana aquí mismo on UCTV.
Unity Coalition, Coalition Unida, is advancing equality and fairness for the Hispanic and Indigenous LGBTQ community through education, leadership, and resources since 2002.
UCTV, our weekly online show, bringing you all the best of our organization, the LGBTQ+ community, and our allies.
Celebrate Orgullo is South Florida's Hispanic and Indigenous Pride Festival.
15 días llenos de arte, cultura, comunidad, música y mucho más.
Every October,
Celebrate Orgullo.
Unity and diversity. Elevate.